Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Goals podcast. I'm Dawn, and here is
Dixie.
Yay. We're here for week number 4 of 52 in this fun little yearly experiment that we're doing on the podcast, where each week we bring you a new activity that we are, quote, testing out for you. Um, I will say from personal experience, a lot of these I've had the pleasure of taking part in over years of therapy. So
Right.
it's like we are doing lots of therapy this
Mhm.
year, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Um,
I'm here
it's
for
good.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I am too. And I'm just going to say thank you for being here with me for it because it's hard to do it by yourself. So, guys, we are your accountability factor right here.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And we are here to test this stuff out for you to know what it is that we like, what we don't like, what works, what doesn't work. And the whole idea is for you to find these things that help you get closer to your soul goals and figure out what makes you tick, how you are motivated, how you live your life, and how you evolve to be the best possible version of yourself for your community, whether that is your work, whether that is your family, your household, your friends, all of the things that your life encompasses. I just really think it's so valuable that we are all here meant to be healthy, meant to be happy, meant to be fulfilled, and not to sound like, there's rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine because there's obviously there are dips in the valley, but it's not reacting to those dips in the valley. It's not staying in the valley. It's getting in the valley and feeling them, but it's figuring out what we need to get ourselves up out of the valley and back to the first floor so that we can actually be these people that we're meant to be.
Absolutely. Not responding or not reacting to the
Yeah.
circumstances, but responding thoughtfully. So I love that. I
Oh, I
love
like
that.
that. Responding instead of reacting. That's a big thing. It's a
hmm
difference. Those two
It's
words are super
hard.
different.
It's so hard to do.
I sense something when you said that. You're watching this on YouTube. Your face just went, "Hmm." I
Yeah.
sense a little hesitation there when you said
It takes a lot of work and I still don't always get it right. And I'm super type A, so I'm very much a reactor, but it's taken a lot of work to learn how to take a minute, take a breath. I don't have to I don't have to react right now. I can take a minute and respond appropriately. I don't
yeah.
always get it right, but I do have
Right.
winning moments from time to
Okay. I like
time.
it.
Yeah.
Good, good. Pat yourself on the back because
That's
yes, winning moments count.
And you said earlier, we're doing this to figure out what works, what doesn't. And honestly, we haven't done a week yet where I haven't found something that works, that I've learned something
Oh,
and found something that works. So that's good.
yay. Okay, good. That's
Mhm.
positive. Like
Yeah,
you've been able to
absolutely.
find you've been able to find pieces of that you can take and kind of incorporate in your life, whether it's 3 times a week or every day. Maybe it's a piece that you go, okay, this is this month I need this focus and I'm going to pull from what we did and this is what I'm going to follow because this is what's going to be really beneficial to me.
hmm Yeah, that's
Yay.
I love this week, especially for what it brought to the surface that I didn't see coming. So I'm excited about that.
Wow. Okay. So, guys, yeah, without further ado, this one's called Empty the Container. And no, it's not about, opening Tupperware up and like pulling out your leftovers, but
Right?
maybe you know what? Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. It's like we're opening up the Tupperware. Look at here. I'm getting very philosophical on you with Tupperware. We're
Do it.
opening up the Tupperware containers of our lives and unloading the leftovers, if you will.
Right?
Because this was hard for me. This challenge this week was a minimum of 3 times sitting with a 15-minute timer and just free writing. I even went and got my old journal out
Oh
and
yeah, me too. I have mine too.
here you go. Flipped to the back of it where I had some pages and went, all right, here we go. And I'm just going to tell you, all I had in me was 3 times. I couldn't do it any more than 3
Oh
times.
really?
Yeah, and
This
I know that's
challenge
my
was
challenge.
kind of right up my alley. I love to. It's my morning routine for years has been, and sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I don't do it. But I've always kind of read and
Mhm.
um, written down, some key takeaways from whatever I've been reading. But the whole like set a timer and not be affected by any outside influence and just write.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it and did it like 5 times this week.
Oh my goodness. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. But you're like, "What are you proud of?" Because I love it. Yeah, it's great. I am, yeah, I struggled heartily for this one, and it was right up till the end of my week, till the end of the days where we, like, say this is the cutoff of our week, where I was like, "Okay, this is if I do it on this day, then that will take me right up to the final day of the week." I mean, that's how much I resisted it, and I think a lot of it for me was from past experience with my eating disorder and the things that I had to go through in therapy that were, oh, like unearthing. You talk about leftovers in a Tupperware dish, man,
Mhm.
bringing up some stuff. So, like you said a little bit ago, interesting about some of the stuff that came up. For me, the first time I did it, it was extremely chaotic. Like my writing was just like, and I'll let me back up a little bit because I love to type on a typewriter and I love to type on a keyboard. Like my thoughts just go faster when I'm
Mhm.
typing versus when
Thanks.
I'm writing by hand with a pen or a pencil.
Mhm.
So I forced myself to just use the pen or the pencil.
Yeah, I did too. Because I opened my iPad with the intention, I have a keyboard for my iPad with the intention of typing and I was like, no, I'm going to get pen to paper. Because I'm
Yeah.
not sure, I can't remember now if you specified pen to paper, but that's what I chose to do.
Oh,
So,
and I didn't, but yeah, like that was kind of just I knew that that was going to be hard for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna push myself just because I know I'm already struggling. Why not throw something else in there, right?
why not just push me a little bit further?
Right. It went like what I said the first time I did this, activity, it was extremely chaotic. I set that timer, and I felt like I had to go really, really fast, and I don't know where that came from,
Mm.
but I will say that by the end of 15 minutes, I can look back and go, "My thoughts dumping out of my brain onto this paper were so chaotic," and at the end, it made sense. There was a really interesting shift.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was really it wasn't a logical thing that I was doing. It was just a literally emptying a container, just dumping it out with no real thought. And when I say no real thought, like, I started out with a word. Like, I think what
Mhm.
was my first word was, hang on, I'll look back. Fear. I wrote
Mm.
down fear. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Mhm.
I
Tell me a
mean,
little bit
it's
about
not
how
cool that
yours
you had fear, but I'm not saying that at all.
I
But
understood where you were going. I know, but the whole idea, yeah, I just was I think in looking back at this for me, that was if I could really attune to doing this more regularly, it would really help the chaos in my brain when I'm in that place of monkey mind, go, 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 go,
Mhm.
and, um, just to decelerate, kind of decelerated me a little bit.
So was the hard part for you the actual emptying the container, or was it the slowing down for 15 minutes, just stopping? Like, what was the hardest part for you?
That's a great question. I think it was probably a combination of both, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
like to slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but slowing down for me is beneficial and helps me, but we tend to avoid doing the behaviors that are most beneficial for us, especially when it's something that is, a growth kind of, uh, attribute, if you will.
Yeah. Because last week you talked about the third exercise you did was slowing down to walk your dogs, and that was really hard. And
Yeah,
so this exercise required sitting still. So,
yeah.
that's interesting.
This look at you, Dixie. I will my check is in the mail to you. It's your hourly fee.
Oh my goodness.
It's great. But you didn't have like, you loved it. You said it's right up your alley, the journaling?
I like to journal. I don't always make time for it, but when I
Mm.
do it, I find it extremely beneficial. It I like to there are things that I will write down that I might not say to somebody else. Even if I
Oh,
need to get it off my chest, I
yeah,
might not
yeah.
that. And I don't know why that is. I'm pretty much an open book, though. I'm not somebody who like, I'm kind of what you see is what you get. I'm not, if you ask me a question, I'm going to be honest.
Mhm.
I tend to be honest about what I'm doing. Tend to be out there, I am, how do you say this? I am uncomfortably comfortable being vulnerable. I
Ooh,
can't say that I'm comfortable being vulnerable. That's hard to all say at one time.
it's a
I
mouthful.
can't say that I chase vulnerability, but I guess I've just kind of learned to sit in the uncomfortableness of it.
Yeah.
And so that way, that's why I don't mind if people ask me something about myself, or I'll tell them a story, or I'll, whatever. So, but, we all have those things that,
Mhm.
when I write, maybe I'll write it in a way that I wouldn't say it. It's just, it
Yeah.
feels very raw and very honest. And then, some things came up and I was like, why am I not doing that anymore? Why didn't I keep that a part of my daily practice of
Wow.
my life, and then taking the steps to do that again.
Yeah.
So that part I'm excited about.
And it's
And
something do you think you'll continue doing it?
I think so. I think so. You said your first day you started off with the word fear. My first day, my word was gratitude. And I just started
Oh,
writing about all the things that I was thankful for, but then it took me in a direction that I didn't necessarily see coming. So,
okay. What was that?
well, I was right on the heels of a girl trip to the beach with my high school friends.
Mhm.
Every year, there's anywhere from 10 to 14 or 15 of us we go to the beach once a year in September, and we don't do anything but hang out. We cook,
Oh,
whatever.
love
We get a house that we all pitch in, and we all stay in the same house,
that. Mhm.
and it has a pool, and it's always beachside. So those people that love the beach can go to the beach. Those people that want to sit by the pool can just sit by the pool.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of there's a couple of us that they just are there. They don't really care about the beach or the pool. They're just there because we've all been friends
People.
for,
Yeah.
yeah, we're all 54, turning 54 in 2024.
Oh, how
And
funny.
we've all been friends for, we figured it out. Everybody in the room, most of the people in the room, we've been friends since we were about 3. So like 50 plus
Jeez,
years
Dixie.
are
Oh,
in the room.
wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Great community.
Yes. And so I started writing gratitudes, and I was thankful for that time spent. I just, gotten back, was grateful for that time spent with them.
Yeah.
And then one of my girlfriends she had thyroid cancer and had to get it removed, had some
Yeah.
sort of surgery. Well, it took away her voice. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but I may get emotional on you, and I
Oh, yeah,
apologize.
no, it's
But
okay.
it took away her singing voice, and her
Mm,
speaking voice. She still sounds like, she still sounds like herself to me, but it's a little
mm,
bit lower in pitch. And
okay.
but she loved music and choir and singing, very involved in theater with her kids, and she can't sing anymore.
Oh, wow.
And coming from a life where I've been singing my whole life,
Mhm.
since I was little, like my mom had me on stage when I was 6, and then I led worship in various churches for a long time, and then and have always just loved like musical theater and all the kind of things like that.
Yeah.
But it's been a minute since I've sat at my piano. It's been a minute since I sang. It was COVID is the last time, probably. Well, I have sang since COVID, but COVID was the last time like I've sat down every day at my piano and just sang, and just,
Yeah, yeah.
just for me, not for
Yeah.
anybody to
Not
hear.
for any other reason other than
No.
just for you. Yeah.
And on that trip, I looked at her, and I began to weep on that trip. And I was like,
Yeah.
I've taken something for granted that's been given to me. And I'm not okay with that. And then in
Mhm.
journaling, it came back up. Like, why don't I
Mm.
sit at my piano anymore and do that thing that brings me so much joy?
Yeah.
And then and gives life, it really feeds my soul too.
Yeah.
And And I thought, this is something I need to pick back up. And then, interestingly enough, I was listening to a podcast yesterday morning, and the girl that was being interviewed said she's like a bodybuilder and all these things going on. And part of her evening routine, she said, I play guitar and I sing, and every night I just play my guitar and sing. And that's important to me to do that every day. And I thought, okay, this is coming up everywhere I turn.
Right?
So
Yeah.
maybe I should just pay attention to it and just, wipe the dust off of my piano and sit
Oh.
down and just see where it takes me. I haven't done that yet, but that's what I need to.
Yeah, but the idea that you've experienced is that you've unearthed this understanding and this awareness for you from the journaling process that you did. And I think
Hmm.
that's the biggest thing is, like, we have to draw awareness to what it is that we're living through and we're walking through for us to really be present with it, I think. And a lot of times that means unearthing some of those darker places and those shadows that we haven't gone to, and then really sitting still and listening to the information we're being given in a way that, okay, like you said, I feel like I've taken this for granted, like I haven't done this, and this is something that I've just kind of pushed over to the side. And the gift of being around your community and this individual you're talking about, knowing that she doesn't have that capacity, is just a really interesting mirror, I think, for you to be able to go, "Okay, what can I do? What can I do with this awareness? What can I do with this?" And that's the first step in changing behaviors and in changing what it is that we do.
Yeah. And I told her too, I said, I'm just believing it's going to come back. And she
Yeah,
said, well, it's been 6 months. And they say, if you've been 6 months and it's not back, it's probably not coming back. And I'm just refusing to believe that. So I'm
yeah,
just, I am placing my belief in the fact that she'll get her voice back. I,
yeah,
um, but I know that I need to use mine.
yeah.
And what that looks like, I don't know. But I used to, I mean, I would sit for hours, and sometimes I would play and sing stuff that, I loved, and sometimes I would write and just,
Oh,
and that's
wow.
that's a part of my life that is, I don't know why, it just kind of, it took a back burner. And
Yeah.
that's but it seems to be bubbling to the surface. So we'll see where that takes me.
Yeah, I think creativity really does a lot for us in terms of our evolving, in terms of our healing, and
Mhm.
us not even really understanding what we're healing at the time
Mhm.
that we're doing it. So I think it's a really nice overall kind of buffer. So we don't necessarily see some of the stuff that we're, like I said, that we're healing from, but we're doing it in such a profound way that
Mhm.
is so genuine and so gracious through the gifts that we've been given.
Right. And it's funny that you say healing, because it makes me remember during 2020, during COVID, when everything shut down. My dad passed away in October of 2019. And
Right before all that happened.
then, I'm sorry,
Right before all that happened.
right before. And then my mom, we brought my mom to live with us in January of 2020. So we all know what happened in March, April
Yeah,
following. And so, nobody was doing a whole lot. My job had considerably cut back in half because I worked in the medical field, and there was only so many, things I could do.
yeah.
And I spent a lot of time at my piano, and that really helped heal, like, in during my
Mhm.
the grieving process. It
Right,
did. It helped. I feel like it was super healing for me.
right,
You know,
right.
if there was any good thing that could come out
Well,
of
right,
it,
yeah, I think that's amazing. And I think there are the good things that come out of the bad stuff. I wanna say too, for me with the journaling, if I look back at the three the 3 short 15-minute intervals that I did of journaling,
Hey, don't sell
we
yourself short. You journaled for 45 minutes.
you know what? Thank you.
You surely did.
Yes. See, there we go. I just learned something. Thank you. You gave me some really a really beautiful piece of grace right there. I appreciate that. 45 minutes is, yeah, that was a lot for me.
That's
Goodness.
legitimate. Yes.
Yeah. But I feel like the start out that negative, but by the end of the clearing, it's almost like I was clearing the mechanism, and
Mhm.
getting to that positive point. And there was something about for me about setting a timer that kind of let me off the hook a little bit too. It's like, okay, it doesn't have to be unending. I can stop before 15 minutes because there's no alarm policeman sitting here beside me. It's arrest me. This is my job. At least I'm acknowledging it and I'm doing what I can, right? I
Mhm.
think like last week we talked about getting physical and then you brought up a great point. It's not about doing everything with all the apparatus and saying that I can't do it. I don't have it available to me. It's about doing what you can with what you have.
Mhm.
So yeah, but I think too the negativity start and then by the end of the 15 minutes, it was really interesting. It's almost like it became a positivity slant on what I started out with, and I just call that that's a really big gift for me because I tend to go into that tunnel vision of, "Oh my god, this is happening. What are we gonna do about it now?" And not, expand my horizons immediately. I react a lot of times before I respond, and
Mhm.
I'm working on that, and I have it inked on my arm. It's
Oh, that's cool. What does it say?
yeah, it says pause, and then it's a semicolon, and then it says breathe, and it's a semicolon, and then it says resume.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
inked on my arm for eternity in this body. Yes.
Love
Anytime I
it.
get anxious, it's really been super helpful. So I'm not saying okay, friends at home, I'm not saying you have to go get a tattoo, but that was helpful for me. I will say also on the second day, we have a lot of stuff going on in our household that is a little bit unnerving right now, and there's a lot of uncertainty around different items that we have that we're all dealing with,
Mhm.
and, it really by the end of that 15 minutes, I got to a point where I was like, "Oh my god," huge light bulb moment. There For new things to come into our world, you have to clear the path. The
Mhm.
path has to be cleared. So, like, when you pray for something, like, "God, please grant me this. God, thank you so much." We always start our prayers with "thank you." That's how I've always been taught, like, "Thank you
Mhm.
for X,
Mhm.
Y, and Z." But then when I'm asking for my petitions and what it is that I'm really needing, I I finally got to this point where I was like, you can't have new on top of the old in the environment that you've been in that has created the angst and the stuff, if you will.
Mhm.
So, it's almost like a forest fire has to come through and clear it out. Like somebody said at one point too, and I totally resonated with this when I was writing, that when you are asking for all of this stuff and your life starts falling apart and you're
Mhm.
like, "God, what is happening? I'm just asking for this." But that's the reasoning that I got to was if you don't have a clear path, you can't have the new can't come in. You're just piling more on and you're still having the undergrowth and the underbrush that isn't necessary for your next right space.
Mhm. Mhm.
So sometimes that falling apart and that releasing and that letting go and that clearing of the path is really important
Mhm.
for the new to come in. It's that old saying, if there's you can open the door, like, you look for a window, like,
Mhm.
God
Mhm.
closes the door, he opens a window.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I took it from a little bit more figuratively in that whole clearing, for the new things to grow in an environment that is different than
Mhm.
where you've been.
Yeah, it's like the refiner's fire. You have to get rid of all the peripheral, if you will,
Yes.
to get to the gold or the diamond or the whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard and, like, getting through all of that and all of that underbrush and that refining process as I think we all tend to get tripped up as human beings. I know I do, big
Mhm.
time. And then that's where I react instead of respond,
Mhm.
and that's where I tend to go, like, wanna hurry through it instead of just pausing. I need to look down at my arm. Like,
Right? Right.
yes,
I mean,
take a pause, then take a breath. Okay, now carry on. But I think, we all just lead a lot of times and get tripped up with our ego in that process of getting caught up in all the details. Yeah.
right. And if it's getting burned away, you don't need it. It's not
Mm,
serving you. And I
mhm.
think a lot of times we hold on to things because it's what we've always done.
Right.
when it doesn't serve a purpose or whatever. It's just comfortable because it's the way I've always done it or the way I've always been, and it's where I'm comfortable.
Right.
But if it can be burned away, then it's not serving me, if it can be removed. So,
Right. And being uncomfortable is part of our growth. And you what you said earlier about sitting in that vulnerability, being uncomfortable with that
mhm,
vulnerability, I
mhm,
mean, but it's a part of the process for us, and I think that we get really caught up in the control
mhm.
of wanting to know, "I just need to know, I just need to know," and that is absolutely if you look that phrase up in whatever dictionary or encyclopedia, I probably like, they have a full page of my face. Yeah, my whole face right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I'm the same way. I want to know. I want
Mhm,
to I'm a planner. I like things to be orderly. I'm
mhm.
a bit well, I've said I'm type A before. I like systems. I like, order. I,
Yeah,
I don't operate well in chaos, and if it feels chaotic to me, I'm not doing well. And
yeah.
so, yes, I totally get it. But part of that has played out in my life in the need to be perfect, and that doesn't serve
Mm,
me either.
mhm.
So, where I find if I'll just step back a little bit and be vulnerable and it's okay to be human, then it's I mean, you're a whole lot more relatable, and then
Yeah,
nobody's perfect. We're all human. So, it's okay to be human.
I love that. Yeah, it's absolutely okay to be human, and it's okay to let yourself off of the hook.
For sure. For sure.
Oh,
I love
gosh.
it. Yeah.
How was the rest of your writing after was that the writing that you were talking about with kinda coming to that gratitude realization with you're talking about your friend
Mhm.
fresh off your trip,
Yeah.
was that early in the
That
week that you wrote?
that was the first day. I
Ah,
was like, "Oh my gosh." And then
welcome to journaling.
My timer went off and I was like, "I'm not done yet."
Oh,
But I didn't go too far, but and a lot the other writing and sessions for me was just kind of processing where I'm at in this time of life and where
yeah.
I want to be. A lot of it right now is just physically taking on new challenges and just regaining my health in this middle age I find myself in.
Yeah, yeah.
And that, I don't know. The condition of my physical body I didn't see coming.
Mhm.
So I wasn't necessarily preparing for it. I just thought we were just going to smooth sail through everything. Everything's good.
Yeah,
And then my
yeah.
body had other intentions, and I know that that happens when we get our age. But
Mhm.
I didn't quite give it the respect it deserved.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then just like, oh, I'll be fine, I can, whatever, whatever. And then it really just hit me like a brick wall. I mean, I hit a brick wall, it hit me like a ton of bricks, all the things, whatever cliche you can think of.
Yeah.
But so a lot my other sessions were very much wrapped around that, and figuring out starting again these positive statements that I say every day, that my coach got me doing at the beginning of the year, and I've sort of just let it go. And so that came back up, and
Good.
I went in an old journal and found exactly what those things were, and so just started reincorporating that, like put it on my mirror in my office,
Yeah,
that I'm capable and I'm not stuck and I'm
yeah,
strong in this body and my body can do really amazing things. And
yeah.
prioritizing my health is actually an act of service toward those that I love.
Oh,
So,
so good.
mhm. And so
So
I
good.
reincorporated that, and that's all directly related to. I had actually forgotten about those affirmations, if we're being honest, until I
So
started journaling.
that was old stuff that you had already written that you looked
Those
back?
affirmations I just spouted out, yes, was in January. And
Okay.
I started writing them down and saying them every day. And somehow I just quit, did it. I don't know when that
Yeah.
happened. But then when I was journaling, I was like, oh, I was reminded, wait a minute. I have affirmations in some other. So I went back in the journal that I just finished. I filled up, and so I went back to that January, and I was just flumming through it. It was January 4th of this year that I wrote them down, and so I don't know when I fell off that train of just speaking that over myself. I'm a huge
Right.
proponent of speaking life,
Right.
um, and at work, I don't like it when people say negative things about themselves.
Yeah.
I it it actually kind of like it hurts me when somebody says, "Oh, I'm so fill in the blank," like, "Oh, I'm so
Mm.
dumb," or "Oh,
Mhm.
I'm an idiot."
Mm.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
And so I usually stop them and say, "I'm going to tell
Okay.
you what I tell my kids. If I hear you say something negative about yourself, you got to give me three positives." And
Oh, great.
they're like, "I have to tell you three good things about myself." I said, "I'm gonna give you a pass this time, but
Yeah.
you
This is your warning.
the next time you say something bad about yourself, you got to be prepared to give me
Yeah.
three good." Because I don't, that negative self talk is so, even when people, and I used to be so guilty of this. What do you call it when you talk bad about yourself, but it's like you're making it funny? Self
Oh,
deprecating.
self-deprecating, big
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time and
Mhm.
laugh, and,
Mm.
but you don't understand the power.
Words have power.
They have power. And so
Mhm.
you begin to believe what you say, whether
Yeah.
or not you think you're joking or not, your brain doesn't know the difference.
Yes. Yes.
So I changed that a long time ago, especially when my daughter got older. I
Yeah.
I would see if I was being self-deprecating, I would see the look on her face. And I'd
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, I don't want her to be like this toward
Yeah.
herself." No.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, so I've done a lot of work on speaking, being positive. That's
Mhm.
such a huge um priority for me.
And it's hard for us to get out of that negative self-talk a lot of times, especially when we're in our triggers and especially when we are faced with something, we go back to that reaction versus respond. And when we're faced with something that just lights this internal reaction for us,
Mhm.
gosh, how hard is that to make that choice? And then I go back to the bottom line is choice. We all have choice.
Mhm.
We all have choice.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
So yeah, that was towards the end when all those affirmations came up, and I went back in an old journal and wrote them all down again. And so I was
Oh,
like, okay, I got to pick this back up. I got to pick this
yeah.
practice back up.
Well, that's how mine actually ended. It's so
Oh, that's
interesting that
awesome.
yeah, say that about affirmations. I like by the last day, which was literally last night,
Right. Because you said you were like calculating, okay.
I calculated, yes, okay, if I start it on this day, then I'll finish it on this day, which is our last day of our week.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, yeah, like you could do what you gotta do, guys, right?
I know, right?
So, yeah, but it was interesting because it had shifted to this very it did not start out negative. It started out factual. It started out realistic. It started about what's happening. What am I thinking right now? What am I feeling right now?
Hmm.
And I wrote those feelings and those thoughts down. And yeah, they could be termed as negative, but I wasn't doing it at me. I was doing it outside of me.
Hmm.
That makes sense. So I wasn't attacking myself with that like I had been earlier in my first journal writing of the week.
Hmm.
And by the end of it, I just really saw a huge shift and I was making one sentence phrases that were positive, that were affirmative, that were very centered and very present about what it is that what it is that's im impeccable thinking for myself and what it is that I need to be doing a a different job of. I don't wanna say better, just a
Hmm.
different job of in my self-talk. And I love that you went back to those old journals and found those pieces and that you can recall the date that it was, that you know
Hmm.
exactly when it was that you wrote those down. And I don't know why that sticks with me other than it just seems to me like that makes it much more concrete for you, like, this is important.
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you
Absolutely.
it's stamped. This is a stamp. I'm gonna tell you this is why it's important. You're gonna remember this. This is a part of your DNA now that you're gonna carry on, and you have this information. You may be in a valley this time next week, but you also have this information in January. Hey, January 4th. What happened
Hmm.
then? I wrote this down. Okay, I'm gonna go back to it. It's my
Right.
choice. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, that's so cool where you said what started out negative. ended on a positive. It's all about the reframe, you know?
Gosh.
It's all about the
Yeah.
reframe, and that's what I do. Anytime there's a negative thought, I deal a lot with, I feel like, because I am tremendously hard on myself,
Mhm.
I I rarely give myself any grace. And but I don't do that outwardly. It's all internal.
Yeah.
I'm very hard on myself internally, which leads itself to just thoughts coming in like, you're not enough. You're not worthy.
Mhm.
That's not good enough.
Mhm.
All this stuff. I battle that all the time.
Yeah.
So the reframe is that, I am enough, and I'm not stuck, and I'm strong, and you know so the reframe, it can rewire the brain. Actually, what do you call that? My light is going crazy, sorry. But I'm going to get that fixed before we do this again. Every
Well,
episode, that light
it
wants to
does,
say
but I
something.
think it's really interesting because, like, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you just know that Dixie's light periodically flips off and on at 70 seconds, and when it flips back on, it's when you're making a point that is so absolutely poignant.
Like the light bulb.
It's the light
Right, it's crazy.
it's the
But
light bulb moment.
oh my goodness. But yes, so the reframe is, it's all about the reframe, because the brain, I've been reading where there's a fancy scientific
Yeah,
term for it,
I know what you're
but
talking about.
you can actually change, the way that you think
Mhm.
by doing things repetitively. Just like you create a bad habit, it's the same thing. You can create a good habit.
Yes.
So you're not stuck in negative self-talk. You're not stuck there. But how we think is what we is, the only way to change that's with action. So,
Yes, and action dude, like, action is hard. It's like we talked about last week with the "Let's get physical."
mhm,
It's day 1 or 1 day or day
mhm,
1. It's that starting, it's that making that choice to actively do something different than what we're
right.
comfortable with, like you said earlier. It's that
Mhm,
being being uncomfortable.
mhm,
Why do we struggle with that? Just because we just do. It's no one likes
yeah.
to be uncomfortable. We all wanna be happy, we all wanna be we all want the sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns all the time, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
there's a reason why they call them growing pains.
yes.
When you were
Yes.
little and your legs would hurt, and they're like, "Oh, that's just growing pains, baby."
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't ever, even when you're full grown, you don't outgrow
No.
growing pains. They just become a little different. So,
Oh my gosh. Dixie, like, so many mic drop moments right here. Like, that's a perfect one right there. Yeah, they just change. Your growing pains rather just change as you age.
mhm, they
And
do.
it doesn't mean that they're not valuable assets to our growth. It's invaluable,
Hmm.
and they're not going anywhere. Like the challenges that we have to grow in our purpose, grow in our passion, grow in our faith, grow in our community, and just in who we are and what we bring to this life, first and foremost for ourselves, because if you can't fill up your own well, man, you can't fill the wells of other people. You
Right,
just can't.
right. You just can't
But
give anything from an empty cup.
right.
Just can't do it.
But we have that active choice
Hmm.
to make those I love what you said, action. It takes action. It takes action.
But I feel like that's what this exercise this week did. It was putting action to that.
Yeah.
You Putting feet to what you want to do, and there's lots of things that won't come up unless you take time to just sit in
Mhm.
self, if you will.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be 15 minutes a day, but it or 15 minutes 3 times a week, but being intentional about taking time just to sit with yourself
Yeah.
and just get it out,
Yep.
because it's incredible what will come up. I was super surprised in the best way, but and
Yeah, and
challenged
then
as well.
right. Well, and then you can also go down the road that there's probably gonna be things that are gonna pop up that are not on the easiest side to articulate, and sometimes you need to have therapeutic stuff in place to be able to help you through those processes and those actions that and those reactions things that you have that come forth. So always encourage people to take that next step. If you have something that does pop up for you, that does create a trigger, to please reach out and get the help that you need to be able to articulate what that is for you, to
Mhm.
help you be okay in your skin, in your body. And I like what you said. Put feet underneath it.
Mhm.
Put feet underneath it. You can stand, not that you can run away from it, but that you can stand in it. You can stand there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sturdy.
And take action. Take action. Whatever action you need to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking action.
That's
Okay,
it.
so what I
That's what we're doing.
yeah, there's our call to action, guys. Yeah, my takeaway is that I probably need to be journaling a whole lot more often. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
I do too. There's so much value in it, and I'm not near as regular at it. I do love it though. When I do it, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I love doing this. Why don't I do this more? So,
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna do it more,
me too.
right? We're gonna hold each other
Yes.
accountable.
Yeah, let's do it.
And all of the many viewers that are watching and listening, they're gonna hold us
Yes.
accountable too. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, kids. Well, I love it. Always love talking to you, Dixie. This is
Oh, I love
amazing.
this. This is so fun. It's the
It's
highlight of my week.
oh, thank you. But me too.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm learning so much new stuff about you. We've known each other for years, and here we are.
I know. And I just found out you were a singer too.
I was for a
Yeah, I did. I just put that out on the interwebs.
golly. We're gonna do karaoke together one day, and it's
I
gonna
know
be
that would be
amazing.
so fun. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
definitely have to YouTube that one too.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe maybe that'll be instead of week 52, it'll be week 53, the cap off of the
Right,
year.
let's do it. That's
Yeah, we got it. Coming
right.
straight to you from downtown Broadway.
There you go. Oh
There we
dear.
go. All right. Until next week, everybody, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and we will see you again next week.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.